Okay, guys, so the last grammar rule that we're going to talk about is concise. Short is sweet. This one's a lot more straightforward. It's not as similar to the other rules that we've looked at, so it's a little bit easier and more straightforward. The preference in the correct answer choice is always for the shortest, grammatically correct response. So short is sweet. You just got to remember that. What's short, sweet, and flows in a nice, clear, logical manner. You don't want to be repetitive. You don't want to be redundant. You don't need to say the same thing in the same sentence multiple times in multiple different ways. Say it once and you're good. With that in mind, take a look at this answer on the screen and see what you think would be the best answer choice. Don't be repetitive. Don't be redundant. Press pause, see if you can figure it out, and then we'll come back and compare notes. Okay, so looking at this one, the underlined portion says alike and similar. Is that repetitive? Is that redundant? Is that saying the same thing in the same way more than once? Yes. So for that reason, the answer is B. Choice A, C, and D all say the same thing. Alike and similar are the same thing. They're alike and similar. Ha, ha, ha. We don't need to say the same thing more than once. Choice B says similar. That's good enough. Let's look at practice test 3, section 2, question number 18, 8, 18, and 7. Okay, so question number 8, what's the first thing that we do, guys? We put a bracket around the sentence in question. I will highlight it for you guys. What's changing between the answer choices? Each year, every year, per year. Delete the underlined portion. So we're not dealing with verbs and subjects and punctuation. We're not dealing with anything like that. So we're dealing with something a little bit different here. Choice D is your clue that we could be dealing with concise. Because if choice D is giving you the option to delete part of the sentence, that's making the sentence more concise. So take a pause, look at question 8, keeping the grammar rule in mind, see if you can come up with the correct answer on your own, and then press play and we'll compare notes. So the correct answer is choice D. By us deleting each year, that's telling us that the same meaning as each year is mentioned earlier in the sentence. Do you see anywhere else in the sentence something that means along the same lines as each year? And the correct answer, or the reason why, is the word annual. Annual. Annual means each year, every year, per year. It all means the same thing. So being it already says that in the sentence, we can get rid of each year. So that makes choice D the correct answer. Let's look at number 18. Okay, so what's the first thing that we do, guys? Put brackets around the sentence in question. And then I'm going to highlight it for you all. So I want to challenge you, same thing with number 18, press pause, see if you can find the correct answer, keeping that grammar rule in mind. Then press play, and then we'll compare notes. So the correct answer is B. Why is it choice B? Because all the other choices mention overwhelming and tremendous. Those are the same meanings. Those mean the same thing. That's being repetitive. That's being redundant. Choice B only mentions it one time. Whether it's overwhelming or tremendous, we just need it mentioned one time. Choice A, C, and D mention it numerous times. So now let's change gears a little bit and look at number 7. Still a concise question, but it's constructed a little bit differently. Let me erase this highlighted portion right here for you. Go ahead and take a look at the question. And you can notice that this is a concise question by the question itself. Here we actually have a question prompt for once, which we tend not to with the grammar questions that we've looked at so far. Which best combines the underlined sentence? Well, if you're combining underlined sentences, you're making it smaller and more concise. So press pause, take a look and see what you think best combines the underlined sentence. That it's short and sweet and it flows logically. It's not choppy. It doesn't go back and forth between topics. It flows in a smooth and consistent manner. Press pause, give it your best go with that in mind, and then press play and we'll compare notes. So the correct answer for this one is A. Because the two main things that are being talked about here are cost and productivity. Those are kind of the two main topics here, mentioned in this answer choice. So if you look at choice A, what's the first thing to be mentioned, cost or productivity? Aside from lowering worker productivity, so we have productivity. Artificial light sources are also costly. Costly is then mentioned, typically constituting anywhere from 25 to 50% of a building's energy use. A building's energy use is related to the cost. The electric bill, the cost of energy, that's also related to cost. So it starts with productivity, doesn't mention it again, and then it moves on to cost and only stays on cost. So it flows and it doesn't go back and forth between the topics. Look at choice B, for example. Cost, productivity, and then back to cost. Cost, productivity, and then back to cost. Look at choice C, 25 to 50% of a building's energy use. That's cost. Then it mentions productivity, then it goes back to cost. And then choice D stays consistent, productivity, cost, and then cost, but it doesn't flow as well. Artificial lights, which lower productivity and are costly, then it goes on to cost again. So why even mention the productivity to begin with if you're just going to finish and only talk about cost after that? So choice D is not a bad answer. It's really not, but it's not as concise. It doesn't flow as well as choice A. Don't just go with what's literally the smaller sentence with the least amount of words. It also is what flows logically. Choice A flows better than choice D. So that's it for the grammar rules. We've looked at subject-verb agreement, we looked at verb tense, we looked at pronouns, and we also looked at concise. So now in the next video, we're gonna move on to start looking at punctuation rules. So again, that's it for grammar rules. I hope you found this really useful and helpful. Go ahead and proceed to the next video and we'll keep it going.